Our world continues to change and push us in ways we have not been challenged before. On this show, we talk about these challenges, how to be aware of them, face them, and overcome them in your life. This is David Waldas, creator of the Aligned Living System.
And I'm Nick Musica, Aligned Living Coach. Welcome to the Aligned Living System podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Aligned Living System podcast. This is David Waldas here with Nick Musica once again. And today's topic is about what happens when we start seeing ourselves as a healer instead of somebody who's trying to be healed. And it really goes right in line as I've been, launching the Coaches Academy, which the first cohort is going to be in mid to late September. It's really gotten me thinking about what shifts for people when they start to become a coach, when they start to see themselves in that role, as opposed to the role of practicing with themselves. And there's a whole drastic shift that happens that I think is always a bit surprising to people, because when we're a coach, it's about everybody else. It's about who we're working with. But when we're practicing, it's about us and sorting through our own stuff. We part of it is becoming really hyper self-aware, and then also trying to not be hyper self-aware. And it's this weird mix, right? And that's what personal development is we become aware of the things that we need to work through, our old stories, our old blocks, our, traumas. And then we have to become aware of our greater version of ourselves so that we can move past them. And so it's this interesting game we're playing inside of ourselves of alignment, and inside of that alignment, really recognizing what's just not our truth and ways that we're operating in that. And so welcome, Nick. You're getting your mic ready. You're like, oh shit, I'm not on my mic. Well, you're actually muted, so I'll go ahead and tell the story. But Nick will join us in just a second. You probably see him if you're watching the video scrambling with his mic, because it's probably getting picked up by. So make sure you smile while you do that, Nick. But it'll be great to have good audio. So, there's this guy that I used to ride with, and it was kind of when I first started transitioning to road riding and not just mountain biking. And they're, as much as they're similar sports, they're really quite different sports. And so I was riding with this guy who, I think he was like a semi-pro, really cool guy. He was actually the rep for one of the bike companies, and we've gotten to be friends, and would go to mountain bike races together. But we started road riding, he'd been road riding for years. He was actually a triathlete. And so as I joined him, we'd be going up these climbs. And he was a big guy too, so he wasn't like a super fast climber, but he was fast. And I would just do everything I could to hang on to his back wheel as we'd go up these climbs. And about 100 feet from the top of the climb, all of a sudden he would just slowly start to pull away from me. And I'd get to the top of the climb, and he'd be about 100 yards down the road. And I was like, man, how in the last 100 feet of a climb do you get 100 yards ahead of me? I was like, Scott, what's the deal? Like every time, and he goes, it's funny. I think everybody just makes their goal the top of the climb. And so as they approach it, it starts to feel like a lot of work. He's like, I don't think about the top of the climb as my goal. I think about 100 yards past it. And so I just push through the top. Maybe I even lift my pace just a touch, and I'm not looking at it until I'm 100 yards past. And if your mindset is, I'm just trying to get to the goal, when you approach the goal, all of a sudden it just becomes a lot more work. You start to really feel the weight of it and the fatigue. And it's funny, right? I could be climbing for 10 miles and that last 100 yards is hard. Or I could be climbing for a quarter mile and the last 100 yards is hard. Same thing with running. You go out for a 3-mile run, the last mile or so kind of hurts. You go for a 10-mile run, the last mile or so hurts. It's so much our mindset. And so, this is it was such a perfect metaphor for me for what is the difference between being an aligned living, like somebody who practices it versus somebody who coaches it. And the moment that we see ourselves as the coach, now being in alignment is just a prerequisite. And it's funny. I saw this. I felt this the other day. My girlfriend and I had gotten a discussion about something before. I know it was stirring me up a little bit. And then I had like 10 seconds. I had to be on a client call. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta. And I sat down. As soon as I sat in my chair, I just aligned, and I was like, any of the frustration or any of the residuals from that was just gone. I was in alignment because I had service. I was like, thank you. What a great lesson. But realizing that's why even when I'm on vacation, I'll often still work a little bit, because when I'm, and walk through life with that same thing, like my job is to bring light and to bring this zone of miracles, we can call it, into everybody else's world. And when that we're focusing on that rather than just trying to hold our alignment, we're alignment's a prerequisite, and we're 100 yards down the road now instead of just trying to get ourselves to the top of the climb. So welcome, Nick. I like your mic there. It looks good. It's
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for buying me some time. And also, I don't think the mic's actually working. They still come through the iPod,
you get
the
away
earpods.
to tell me that till I was in the middle of a drink, but I didn't spit it all over my screen and camera and computer.
All that motion for nothing.
Yeah, it looks like there's no lights on that mic, but anyways,
Oh,
you
they're
sound pretty good.
working.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, there you
just
go. Yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah,
just it's fine. It's fine. Um,
yeah. I might be
I
able to
love the
adjust
I
TLC, but
I love the idea of 100. Was it 100 yards after?
yep, yep,
I love that idea.
yeah.
I mean, that changes the
Or
entire
yeah, yeah, mhm,
the whole
yeah,
dynamic of what we're going for, right? Like
yeah.
it's
And
really quite lovely.
anything that you do, you think about it when you're approaching the goal. That's always the hardest part, right? And so, where are we placing that goal? Yeah, I think about it. If I remember back, as a kid, or those of us that have kids, like the idea of brushing your teeth before bed. I don't want, it was like this big fight because brushing your teeth was the goal. And at a certain point, going to bed is actually the goal. And so then you're like, did I brush my teeth? Like, I have to taste my mouth. Oh yeah, yeah, my mouth tastes minty. I brushed my teeth because it was just a prerequisite. There wasn't it wasn't the goal. I wasn't trying to get it done. And so when alignment becomes a prerequisite rather than a goal, everything changes. And then it's just simple. It's as simple as brushing your teeth. And remember, at one point, getting your teeth brushed was a challenge. And then you have to just check in just to remember whether or not you did it or not, because it's such a autonomic function almost. It's happening without us.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
how things
yeah,
are.
yeah. It's just a habit. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. And I mean, the idea of the peak being the objective versus the thing no one's even considering 100
Mm-hmm.
yards out,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah,
it's a very different mindset. It's just a different way of thinking about what it means to perform. And you're saying the same thing,
yeah,
which
absolutely.
is right, like it's a perspective shift. It's a
Mm-hmm.
doctor patient shift. If you're always the patient, you're
Mm-hmm.
always being taken care of. As soon as you put on, for maybe there's a better metaphor, as soon as you put on the jacket of the doctor, like your role effectively changes, and you're not
Yeah, if the doctor had to be healthy in order to take care of you, that would,
right.
and I think that's the difference in that analogy. Like,
Yeah.
how often do we see unhealthy doctors, right? But imagine
Yes.
if a doctor had to be healthy in order to take care of their patients, how healthy they would be,
Yeah.
because they have a full
Right.
conviction to
It's
taking care of their
true.
patients, and so they actually neglect themselves in the process quite often. You see it
Yeah.
with therapists,
I
you see it
mean,
with
yeah.
healers.
I mean,
You know,
I've I've seen, and I can't recall any of them off the top of my head, and it's probably good for me and whoever I'm not remembering. But I can remember the feeling of I'm not taking advice from this fucking guy.
oh yeah,
Like,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. The fat
why?
fitness coach, or the
Yeah, like
the surf coach that can't surf. Or the
like no, no. That seems like just a bad decision. That seems like bad judgment on my part to go, this guy has good things to say. I mean, and that person may have good things to say, but I can't take it seriously. But the good things he said may have been from a book that he read. It could have
yeah,
from a person he heard. It's not
yeah.
his own experience. It's not the thing that he's holding, and that's very
Yeah,
different.
if somebody says to you, "Don't do what I'm doing," look at the mess it's creating. Here's what you should do. Like, You
Yeah.
go, well, that's great. That's, maybe there's some wisdom in there, but I don't want you as my guide. you
Yeah.
know?
I'm looking for you to help navigate me to where I want to go, not someone who's going to show me how to jump off the cliff every once in a while.
And then the thing about energy work too is that our energy field's contagious, and that's why
Yes.
this works so well. Is because we can't show somebody alignment if we're out of alignment, and we can't help them stabilize there if we're out of alignment. And so it's so interesting when I connect with people quite often when they first get on the call. I'll hold my alignment, but I'll hold it very, very much where I'm not just running my field through them, because they often need to have their perspective and to come in with the story. And then partway through the story, I'll start to let my energy hit them. And the moment that I do that, as I'm doing right now with you, Nick, I'm engaging as if I'm in a session. And then all of a sudden, they can't hold their old story anymore. And they can't keep going in that same false narrative, and they have to start looking at themselves differently. And then as they work with the tools that we're working with, it actually makes it so much easier for them to be in alignment. And when we're doing that for somebody else, we don't even think about our alignment, because there's not a process for us anymore to be in it. We're just in it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's amazing what it does for our ability to hold alignment. And then we start to look at our life that way and go, my job is to be in the zone of miracles where there's just crazy synchronicities happening all the time, and that feeling of being in alignment just feels so free and so expanded. And now I have to be that, because I'm going to actually run that and stream that, vibrate that into everything that I interact with. And that's actually my job. And when I
Yeah.
start seeing my life that way, as somebody who brings this energy, uh, we aren't worried about being in a place to access that energy. It's something we already did. We already brushed our teeth, because you don't go to bed without it.
Yeah. Yeah. So the role shift, which really is an evolution of self, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, is critical for that maintenance and for that creation of what you're looking to ultimately create.
Yeah, yeah. And it's interesting too, because I've been training coaches for 8 years, and the majority of the coaches I trained aren't necessarily like professionally doing this. It just mixes into other things that they do, whether they fold it into their own coaching practice, or
Yeah.
whether, they're a manager at or running a company, they're utilizing it that way. And it's really interesting what it's done for them, because it's the mindset shift. It's going, oh, I have to hold my alignment so that I can actually manage everything and run my business from this place, because I'm affecting everything. And now I'm actually the one bringing miracles and synchronicities into this, and not, we're not bringing it. We're not the one delivering a miracle, delivering a synchronicity. We're holding the frequency in which they happen.
Yeah.
And when that becomes our job, um, everything changes. And it is pretty interesting to me that more than half of the coaches that I've trained aren't doing it as their profession, but using this to become extremely effective at what
Yeah.
they do.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a lot where my work is, um, in that we'll call it the 3D world versus the non uh, the extraordinary world. I'm sure
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm,
there's a different term for it. It's just not coming to mind right now. Um, but there, in the business world, there's a lot of talk about how do you show up,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? Like how do you show up as a team player? How do you show up to be uh, a solutions provider, not a problem generator, right? And you're talking similar. You're talking very similar concepts, but very different, but different language. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of
Yeah.
all of it, the question is for both of those contexts is what did we create and how did we create it?
Yeah. And how do we feel in the process, and how do we feel with the creation?
That's right. Yeah, which which
That sense of
which
fulfillment, that sense of
yeah,
excitement about what we're doing, that sense of being lit up.
yeah, purpose
Yeah.
really is what you're describing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of businesses out there that the purpose is generate a lot of money for the sake of money. So
Yeah. And a lot of people's operation is winning for the sake of winning, rather
yes,
than doing what they feel is contributory and
that's
right
right.
and beneficial. And the difference in how we feel with that is
Yeah.
I never understood the idea of winning for the sake of winning. Like,
No, no.
that ego game. It's
And there's certainly no shame in coming in first, and there's certainly no shame in
no,
a big bank account. And
yeah,
how
absolutely.
you got there really matters, really,
It
especially
does.
now. I mean, we
Yeah,
can see turn on the news, and you can see lack of purpose
hmm,
and abundance, how that comes together and what that creates versus
yeah,
purpose and abundance. Two very different
yeah, yeah,
outputs, very
yeah. And
different.
that chasing of the illusion of happiness through that
Yes,
creation, and then they get there, and it's the same thing for people that want to be famous. How often people are like thinking, oh, that's going to solve it. Now everybody's going to look at me, oh, actually now I don't feel worthy of this. Now I feel like I've gotten it through ill means, or I've what am I doing with this?
yeah, and the
The
feeling or
fraud, the
yeah, the feeling or the expression of I didn't think it would be like this, with
yeah,
a
yeah,
a tone of regret or lack of
yeah. I
satisfaction.
miss, I miss the chase, right? Because in the chase, I didn't know yet that this wouldn't be fulfilling.
Yes,
And then once I've captured it, like there's like the game's over, and you're just kind of like, oh shit, I'm the same person I was before, but now all these people think I'm somebody different. Uh,
yes,
and and so like that whole world, like sure, some of the clients come from that world and go like, I just realized it didn't do it for me, and I had to go through the devastation of that, and now I'm really ready to get in touch with myself and live on purpose, in purpose, you know, letting it be about service. Which is, and that's it's so funny to me, this idea of when we're doing stuff for others, we're doing it in service. Like there's nothing that makes us feel better about ourselves or more aligned or more powerful than making our life about other people. And to me, like, it's just the moment I make my life about other people, it's all about me. And the moment I make myself all about me, it's not about me and it's not about other people. It's just empty, right? And so, like, how do you want to make your life all about you? Make it all about service, and then it will be all about you.
that's true.
Um, a- and I don't mean sacrificing yourself in the service,
Uh-uh.
but meaning that who you are changes things around you for the better. And that place of bringing this energy, bring this entrainment from with others that gives them access to their highest versions of themselves, to the miracles and synchronicities in their life, and letting that be the game that you're playing, that is you. Um, that service, there's nothing more alive. There's nothing more fulfilling. And any other game we're playing is just some bastardized version of that isn't true.
Yeah,
Any other
yeah,
way we're trying to seek fulfillment and happiness.
yeah. I mean, I remember doing the coaching the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember I think the way you and I first started working with each other was like 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, way
right? So
back when I didn't
yeah,
know the container was actually 10, and then, well, now 12 weeks.
yeah,
It
right,
was
right, right,
it
right, right,
was
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so we did like personal development, and then coaching to
Yeah,
learn
yeah,
how to coach.
yeah.
And at, like the first 6 weeks, it was all about like uh, understanding really what was going on and understanding your perspective and my perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
moving towards something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then it starts to get clearer as to what that something is, or more specifically, in my case, it was like what that something is not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What we have to undo in our thinking and in our
Yeah,
actions. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, which was super humbling. And along the
Mm-hmm.
way, it was so
And
humbling and
freeing,
awesome.
right?
Yes, all at the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like two
yeah,
things can be true at the same time. This that applies here.
yeah,
And
yeah.
and I think it was the second round of six you started to go, you can learn to do this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what, like, and
And we're
right,
going, I
right,
don't think so.
yeah.
You
I'm
know?
like I'm barely holding on to what the concepts are and what it all means right now. But then at some point, I found myself going, that sounds awesome. Like I can actually learn to do what you're doing with me with other people. That sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I remember going through the training, and then you're like, okay, now go find two people to do this with. And I was like, this is going to be a shit show. Like this, I didn't have any confidence about this because you were my one and only experience around this, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you're like, I have a person, but you got to find someone else. And when I met the young lady who you're like, I think you guys be a match. I think she was a client of yours for some period of time. and I sat down with her and started going through the aligned living technique. I was just like, this is amazing. This shit's working. This is like
This
this is
actually
like
works. I can't believe
this
this
is
works.
like it was so mind blowing. It was so mind blowing. It was, yeah, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. And
Right.
then to
Yeah.
right, and so like once it's like, who cares? Right? Like in my world,
Yeah.
like once, who cares? But if you can do it more than once, right? And then you can do it
Yeah.
consistently, like now you got something. So the second person was
Yeah.
like, oh, like first one wasn't a fluke, second one worked out. And so now is this a thing? And it just continued to show up in bits and pieces, because that's where I was at the time, in bits and pieces
Mhm.
as a thing being present for me. And then it's
Mhm.
slowly turning into something more, um, a product offering, a service, shall we say.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 That you offer now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But
It,
besides a way of being, because that's at the core of
right.
it. Yeah.
Right. And do you remember that feeling too when you actually were delivering these tools and the structure and the energy into your client's life and watching their life change and watching them change?
Amazing. Yeah. I mean, it is few and far between the experiences. I'll just speak for myself. The experiences that I've
Mm-hmm.
had where you deliver something now and you get immediate feedback of the
Mm-hmm.
results,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like
real
like
time.
people
Yeah.
people call it like an aha moment, or that's the closest I
Mm-hmm.
can get to. But there's
Mm-hmm.
this there's an awareness, this light that goes on. Like you can sort of see it in the eyes. It's just like things are different. And
Mm-hmm.
I see my own reaction, like things are different and I don't fully understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of like on my side now, like it's like, oh, well, like, we got the spark. Now here's where the fun starts to happen. Like now here's where we're going to start to question, are these things real? Now we're going to start to
Yeah.
figure out what a
Mm-hmm.
coincidence is versus what a synergy is, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because the
Yeah.
experience is going to start to fill in whatever
Mm-hmm.
those things are that we're not 100% confident around.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and that we need to work through and
yeah,
learn to accept so that we can allow the miracles in our life, the
that's right.
normicals, as we call them.
Yeah. And then we're off to the races, and then things are
Yeah,
just different.
yeah, and it's so funny to me too because it is all real time and like, if we took our car into the shop and got a new engine put into it that was bigger and stronger and faster, and then we drove our car and went, "Holy shit, my car got faster! What did you guys do? What kind of miracle did you create in the shop there?" Like we put a bigger engine in. Like I'm not sure what's confusing. Of course it's faster. Like yeah, but it's faster. Right. That's why we put the engine in it. Yeah, but you don't understand. It goes faster now. Like yes, we
Yeah.
do understand. Yep.
That's yeah, right. Yeah. And you just sort of described like the student, it's going faster, and the coach, but we put a
Yeah.
bigger engine
Yeah.
in it. Like there's this understanding that isn't met until you have the training and you're on the
Yeah.
other side of the
Yeah,
table.
yeah. Or we tuned it. Like, oh my God, it runs so smooth. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. Right. We
Yeah.
we tuned it. Yeah, but it didn't run like this before. And I gave you my car and now it runs smoother. Like, right, that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's funny, like when we get used to it, like, but that excitement for somebody that can't believe that it works.
Yes.
And for a while for us that when we give it to people, we can't believe that it works. For a long time I'd always laugh myself. I'm like, holy shit, this stuff works. It's like this thing I've dedicated my life to. It actually works. It's crazy.
Works.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean,
and
which is cool,
miraculously.
right?
Yeah.
Because like not
Yeah.
everyone was doing it, right? Like
Mm-mm.
it wasn't one of those things where you can find validity out in the world in buckets. It just
Yeah.
didn't exist.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it was surprising because there's so much shit out there that doesn't work.
Yes.
And that conversation when I have with people when they're exploring working with me and they go, oh, that's a lot of money. And I'm like, you know, if it didn't work, it'd be a lot of money. Right. And why does it feel like a lot of money? Because you paid actually more for shit that didn't work. And you're like, that was a horrible return on my investment.
Yeah.
But
And
when
you're right.
something like this, we go, this is what it does, and then it works, we're like,
Yeah.
shit, I would have paid, and I always hear that at the beginning, people are like, oh, it's a lot to invest. And at
Oh
the end,
man.
they're like, I don't even understand why I thought that was a lot to invest. I'm like, because you didn't think it would work because most stuff doesn't,
Yeah.
or it works at a fraction of what it says it's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just remind me of a friend I used to work with, a colleague, now friend, and she had this phrase where we used to work. She said, you never have enough money to do it right the first time, but you always have enough money to do it right the second time.
That's great.
Oh, is that what happens here? It happens a lot. Yeah, you'll see it now.
Yeah. I mean, how much, particularly like when I look back on, when I was first starting on personal development, like it was hard for me to like, I don't want to spend that much. I'm gonna spend less uh, and get nothing, it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's such an interesting piece. And I think the pricing too, really understanding that, like I have clients that, the investment's a ton of money and they're just really all in. And for other investments where it's just like, oh, let me just transfer the money and it's just a matter of button pushes, and they have to find their motivation to do the work somewhere else. And
mm,
it's interesting how when we've really invested in something, I look at that like with the Boesan Mastermind, we've talked a lot. Like that was a
yeah,
huge investment for me, which really helped me go all in.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Because I'm like, I got to make this shit work. I, this took a lot to get here. And I actually think it's easier for me when I'm working with clients that it was a lot to get here to get the results for them than it is for clients that just simply had to go, what button do I push to get this in your account? Um, it's a really interesting
That's true.
aspect of this. Yeah.
That's
And
true.
then as a coach, what you charge, when you're on the other side of the training and what you put out there, really having it be something that pushes people rather than easy yes for them. Because if it's an easy yes, that they tend to not have the same motivation. They don't have as much skin in the game.
It's a version of free, right? Like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
put something
yeah,
online and you will get a million people clicking on that free button, right?
yep, yep,
Will they value it? Not so much, but
no,
they'll
no,
sign up for it.
yeah. And yeah, you can give somebody the same thing for free, and maybe if 2 minutes of it'll get watched. They paid, whatever was a significant amount to them, they will
That's right.
scour it and take notes, and it's
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
squeeze until it is dry. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right.
yeah, and it's just part of our psyche. It's just part of how we operate, and so all fascinating parts of it. And so, I mean, that is the other part of this coach training is like you can actually make a good living doing it. It's can, and when that is your thing, like it has to pay you because you have to be in a place where you're comfortable. You're not stressed about your finances. You're living a life. You're living, in abundance because that is what you're teaching. And so, of course, it has to flow that way. And so, when people look at going through the coach training, like it's not like so many coaches are just scraping by. This is about creating a life of abundance.
Mm,
And if it's not what you're doing with it, then that's a missing part of it. Like it is, and that's part of the training too. Is like how do we live a life that is abundant? Because if you're scraping by and you're not surrounding yourself by all the things that lift you up and the experiences that lift you up, you're not living in alignment.
yeah,
And
yeah, that's right.
that can be a transition, but abundance and material wealth is part of this.
Yes.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, looking at our
Good
clock here, we
chat.
should wrap things up. But yeah, what a great conversation. And so, if you're interested in becoming an Aligned Living certified coach, uh, you can go to davidwaldas.com. And if the pre-sign up page isn't there yet, you can just uh, contact and let us know you want to be on that waiting list or you want more information. You want to find out a bit more about it. And you can also just email me at info@davidwaldas.com. Well, thanks so much for listening and have a great week. We'll see you all next week. We hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast. And if you did, please subscribe so you can catch the next episode. If you want to learn more about the Aligned Living System and how it could support you in your life, check out davidwaldas.com.